Okay, so hello, and thank you for joining me here for the drawing class, Gain Your Drawing Skills in No Time. We are going to have a very practical exercises today. Again, I will give you the step-by-step instructions, how to create a good drawing, and we'll see what happens. So my name is Elena Zelenina. I am a teacher and a coach, an artist, 30 plus years of experience, several books published. The last one, Art Completes You, Transformation Through Art and the Science of Completion, became Amazon bestseller #1 in September of 2018. And this year I am dedicating to promoting the method of creating art, living with art, through art, in a very blissful, joyful way. And this is one of the ways I'm doing it. I'm conducting classes on Zoom. Just today I had another idea. I was talking to one of the artists because I do have teachers trainings as well. And the next one is starting in January. So we were thinking about how to create that perspective for those who start with us right now. Some people start with really no drawing skills, no background, no art skills. Some people start with, okay, I painted sometime many years ago, but I don't anymore. Some people are looking for something new in life. Some people are artists, but blocked creatives who think they're not really that special or talented. So in my mind, we'll see how it happens, but I saw an art show, and I saw it in New York for those who are ready to step into this art world and share their talents. If you are not that kind of person, it's perfectly okay. You can join for the ride and get exact same training. It's just how far you want to go with it. So what are the steps for today and why I think this class is important? Let me first ask, guys, what do you think? If you can unmute yourselves, I would appreciate. Is drawing hard? I mean realistic drawing, not just doodling. Is it hard or it's okay? How do you feel? Too shy to speak up.
I had no, I thought I couldn't draw before, and I was shocked that I was able to, the last time that, my first lesson with you, I was absolutely amazed and shocked by the way I was able to draw. I never knew I had that. I could have, because I thought I couldn't. So you were able to open up my, creativity.
Yes, but what about that will look at the real person or real object and we're able to draw that? Do you think it is hard or not so hard? How do you perceive it?
It is hard for me. I think it will be hard.
How about for you?
I did the drawing when I was a kid. I have been drawing for a couple of years, so I had some little training before, but because study, work, so I didn't do anything. So now I'm getting older, I want to pick them up. That's what I'm interested in, yeah.
Okay. Well, in general, people perceive drawing as a hard task. We perceive it as unimaginably hard task and kind of like a superpower. If someone can draw right in front of our eyes something that looks real, we are blown away in most cases, if it's just like that easy. So some perception comes from the fact that we went to school, and in most schools they do give us art classes, but these art classes, they never ever have any specific result in mind. Drawing as a skill is not what's going to identify whether you're going to be an artist or you're not going to be an artist. It's absolutely the same skill as handwriting. So of course, yes, so some kids nowadays, they don't really, in the US, spend a lot of time writing. They type mostly, and it makes perfect sense. So if you ask them to write, it might struggle. But when, let's say, I am over 50, right? When I went to school, it was not a question that I won't, like I will say, oh, you know what, it's really hard, let me type. I had to write and write until it was looking the way the teacher wanted. I'm not saying this is the right approach. I am saying that the school, even with the wrong approach towards education, when they have the idea that they're supposed to give you some kind of skill at the end, they are trying, right? With math. If a kid comes and says, well, you know what, I really don't feel like math. I just like this table, I don't feel like it. No one is going to listen, right? They're going to say, oh, no, let's try to find all different ways and teach you. With art, it's not like that. That fantasy that it's only special people have that skill, only if you are born with it, then you can have it, and all sorts of stuff around drawing, especially drawing, that all of us leave. I had so as a coach, I also teach leadership programs through art. So I was conducting the leadership program in a public school last fall, and it was through art. So I'm entering the classroom with 9th graders, and guess what? Almost no one can draw at all. Just a little bit, some stick figures. Everyone is embarrassed by that fact, by the way, and no one. So the question is, if this happens in any other area, the teachers will be concerned. Everyone will think like, oh, okay, what's going on? What did we do that none of our kids can draw? But not with art. Because art in education and in the society is looked as some kind of not necessary thing. So it's okay to have it as an enriching activity, right? Just so we are kind of like more rounded human beings. When in fact, through art, outstanding brain development, outstanding moral skills development, our expression of who we are, understanding of who we are with art, nothing compares to it. If we look at any people who are, we can say hierarchy, right? So let's say British queens, duchess. Who skipped art? No one skipped art. Everyone has their painting lesson, drawing lessons. Doesn't matter what the result. Have they become artists? Maybe not. But that's beyond the point, right? They don't question that supposed to, because they are trying to prepare not a factory worker, not a person who has to fit in some kind of chain and be there comfortably. They are trying to prepare a leader. And so art, music, foreign languages, all of a sudden became a priority. You need to be educated. You need to work it. Dropping that. So first of all, every human being can draw absolutely beautifully, very well. In the 70s, there was and I think that book had probably 18th editions by now, by Betty Edwards, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. She actually took the whole mystery out of how to learn how to draw. I had students who were doing classes with me, and their moms picked up the book, and just by sitting in the waiting room, doing the exercises, they started sketching very well.
Wow.
Again, is it all what you need to become an artist? No, absolutely not. We have to figure out who we are, what we want to say. We have to complete or overwrite our self-doubt, self-hatred, self-denial. We will talk about that. But the idea that you can draw is just not even the argument anymore. Yes, you can. It's a shame that we spend so many hours, and our kids do, in school, having no results. I'm always curious, like, why? Why?
They don't pick up the pencil anymore.
Yeah, I did was went one time. The art classes right now, they look in many schools very sad. It's you know, like this step-by-step instructions. You do this, you take this color, and then you color this, and then you this. And if you look how then later it creeped into adult life. If we go to sip and paint class, right? You just have a glass of wine. This is the teacher. There is some kind of art. You just follow along. You drink wine to relax, kind of talk to their friends, push paint around, socializing, right? Instead of looking at what actually you want to create, what's inside. And all this unpleasant feeling that you cannot do, this is something that needs to be changed, not poured with wine so you don't feel it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what we are going to do, we are using in this series, we did the first class, which was just an abstract painting. I'm sorry for the noise. I think my dog decided to join us. So we did the abstract class. What I wanted to do, I wanted to show you how you can bring a real life element into the abstract class. So when we meet on Sunday, hopefully my schedule is fine for Sunday, we can create another painting, not drawing, painting, but bring in some element just for fun. Okay? And
That's good.
and in general, what I'm thinking, I am thinking that I want to start like this as a regular club meetings. Let's say every Wednesday night, we get together to make art and talk what's new, what's cool, and I can share some tips. And hopefully the teachers who are training will be able sometimes to come with other artists. So we can just start building the community of like-minded people who believe we all can do art, we actually do art, and we become more blissful along the way, more joyful along the way. My book, which is called Art Completes You, I signed it not as Elena Zelenina. It's signed as Shraddha Nityananda. And it's a very, very special name for me because it means, Shraddha means authentic, and Nityananda means eternal bliss. So for me, it's the authentic path of joy. And that's what I want to share. That's my contribution within.
Thank you.
Yes, what?
I'm
So
waiting for my book to get here.
oh, wonderful. I am so happy. It's really nice to have the paper
Yes.
versus the, I mean, ebook is nice too because it's everything is fast. But when you have the paper, you can do the notes because the whole thing you will see, it's more self-discovery versus me pushing some stuff into your heads. And yeah, I'm so happy. I cannot wait. And I cannot wait to discuss it with you because there's some awesome stuff. So the flow for today, we're going to start, as always, with line. That's one I did last time, and I will do one more, which is just to relax our fingers and hands, and just to get a little bit into the artsy flow. After that, I am going to use an object and give you 3 major tips that you need to know. First, then we will sketch whatever we're sketching. Then I will add some more tips and you will finish your drawing. Okay, how does it sound? Okay, great. Okay, so
let me go get my sketch book.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I'm gonna put it a little down. So I also prepared. Oh, please have mirror with you. Okay, we are going to remind how to use the mirror when you feel insecurity that you don't know how to do something. And let me turn this off. Okay, and I prepared some materials that I wanted to show you. I cannot really use just a pencil because then you won't see anything. So I will be using charcoal. But for sketching, all sorts of simple pencils that you probably see around lying down, just collect them all, sharpen them so they're always ready for you. When you feel like, okay, I feel like working on my mind a little bit. And I will tell you why drawing is actually direct work with your mind.
Wow.
Right.
Yes. Then
let me go get some pencil.
Yes, pencils are great. So what else do I have? I also have this kind of charcoal pencil. If you really get into sketching, they are nice because you can kind of smudge them and play with them a little more. But in general, for our classes, we are not, maybe later, we can work on specific techniques. And the reason for that is, if you go on YouTube and you type, let's say, how to draw an eye, you will get 500 videos or more. I mean, good ones, those who are actually watched by a whole bunch of people. Yeah. So you can sit at the time when you are relaxed and mentally prepared for the class and learn these little things. Because most importantly for any one of these exercises is what you feel inside when you are doing it versus how it looks. And in general, I am breaking my own rules a little bit with, let's say, abstract art completes you classes. Because ideally, the teacher should not be doing any demos. Why? Why the teacher should not be doing demos? Because you can then only, first of all, visualize at the level the teacher is. Right? So already you are limited. Second, your whole self-judgment, a self-doubt will start, oh, this is so good, I cannot do that. Again, it only prevents any comparison, and comparison always creeps into a lot of activities of ours, because we're trained like that, will slow down your progress. So with the demo, if you really very paying attention, a lot of attention to what the person is doing, you can maybe make a copy of what the person is doing. But if during a class you actually had a moment of, oh, wow, I saw 5 shades of gray, these are priceless, because this what opening is happening, and that's what will make you sketch really well. Not to be like, okay, monkey see, monkey do. We need a little bit of that, but again, with the right understanding, right context, how to, but not the learning process, right? We're trying to create authentic learning process, which is, you know how to draw already. You know, you just were not shown how to deal with your mind, and we're going to do it. Okay, how does this sound?
Wonderful.
It's very good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome. So the erasers. Okay, so I'm gonna show this one. Well, as many artists, I have plenty of supplies. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of erasers, right? And you should too. Okay. And if you need to, I can show you the gum eraser and the one that creates the line, and we will use some of them, or whatever you have, we will use. However, I don't want you to think that you have to erase, because what we call mistakes that we're making, the line is supposed to be in a different way. They are the ones who are showing us the right way. So if you see that something does not look the way it's supposed to look, leave that line on and draw a better line right next to it.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The same way, so that the mind understands. I want to give this example. Let's say you're going to, you need milk, and you are going to a store. And okay, I'm vegan here, so forget milk. Let's say juice, right? You need juice, and you're going to the store. And you kind of got confused and went to some other, made the wrong turn. If in the middle of that wrong turn you figured out where you need to go, you're not going to go all the way back to your house, right? You will turn and go straight to your store with a better idea of directions in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So have that.
Mm-hmm.
How to make the drawing less messy. When you start very, very light. Okay. So that you can put 1 line, 2 line, 10 lines. And when you see, oh, that's the line, then make it darker, leaving the rest of the lines in now and not worrying about it. When the drawing is done and you are satisfied with what you see, then you grab an eraser and erase whatever you don't need, right? But in the process is not to go straight from one place to another. The process is to train your mind to see.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, mind is an action. Mind's job, it's not a thing, it's an action, and its job is to generate patterns in thinking, so it can access information fast. what it does, so some good stuff is in that, because when you are looking at something, you don't have to figure out, okay, it's a candle hole, okay, so what is it, right? You saw it, you figured it out, you know. So it's useful. But when you are drawing, this pattern thinking is not useful at all. So actually, during drawing, slowing yourself down, making yourself, oh, let me double check, is it really looking like that? So thinking that you are training your mind to go into authentic viewing is your job for today, and in general for sketching. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So we slow down and we go into authentic viewing. Now, let's do this. Let's start with creating the line. I'm going to repeat the Vedic verse that we're using for creating the line. Allow the line to navigate itself to infinity. Allow the line to draw itself. Not you are drawing the line, right? The line is drawing itself.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And
Using
when
the mind to thinking.
yes, no thinking. So you are receiving, and see, you are the pencil basically. So be like a perfect pencil that receives information and just carries along. Once you see that a shape is formed, any shape, circle, see how this is a shape.
Mm-hmm.
You stop and start another line. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to do it. I'm gonna, if you are watching, for those of you who are watching the replay, pause right now and do this exercise for as long as you want to. There is no limitation.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, how are you doing, guys? Are you feeling warmed up or you need more time?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yep.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, so right now, discuss some things that will be helpful for us when we draw. So first of all, the technical things. So I'm going to bring a little closer to what I have here. So let's say I decided to draw a close-up of a flower, right? An orchid.
Mm-hmm.
Like human body, it has a lot of different shapes, and they all go on top of another, bunched together. What I found easier to do is to start with a big shape. What is a big shape? A big shape will be the shape. If I decide to draw around this bunch of flowers, I will have like a little cloud right here, like a little cloud. Do you see it?
Uh-huh.
So the first step will be identify these clouds, these big shapes within the object, the whole object first. After that, look within this cloud and see, do you have some more big shapes where you can put in? Okay. So that would be step number one. I mean, tip number one. Second tip is when you sketch, 70% of the time, your eyes are on your paper or on the object. What do you think? 70% on the paper or on the object?
On the paper, right?
What do you think?
I think
the paper.
On the object.
that's
On
what
the
I
object.
On the object. Get something in your hand right now. Whatever you have, pencil, if you're writing with a pencil.
Pencil.
Yes, okay. So put it in front of you. Okay, and now start moving it to the side and stop when you cannot see it. So mine is somewhere here.
Mm-hmm.
Now do the same thing with this side. You're looking straight at me and stop when you cannot see it anymore. That's where I stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now do the same thing higher. You're still looking at me, but you are very aware where the thing is. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You can try the same at the bottom. So, although you are looking at your flowers or whatever object you have, 70%, not 50-50, 70% of the time, you are still capable of seeing what exactly you are drawing. Okay? You want, will you try?
Yep.
Very good. Now, one tip is how far the object has to be from you when you are sketching. Because sometimes, let's say we're sketching huge skyscraper, and sometimes like this tiny flower, sometimes a human body. What is the best distance between you and the object? It will be about 3 times the height of the object. So if you 3 times, so if this is the main thing on my piece of paper, I don't want it somewhere over there because I have to be extremely well trained to sketch like that, make this that huge and see all the details. This is the height, so it's probably should be somewhere here, not further away. Okay? So now tell me please, or show me, what are your objects you are going to sketch? It doesn't have to be something like I found the flowers.
The mice? The mice. Okay.
Okay.
The sock. Yeah, why not? That's great.
Yeah, computer mice.
Oh, computer.
Mice.
Okay, Mouse, you are going too easy on yourself, right? Absolutely. Don't be scared. Oh, this is so beautiful. Yes. Okay, so put it 3 times the height, but not more. So you can look at all the details, right? But you are close enough.
Okay.
So one more time, you are going to start with the big shape, your big cloud. We are not right now at this point, do not look at the shadows, do not look at the different colors, nothing. You're only interested in shapes. By the way, in the book, Art Completes You, the chapter, the exercises, I will tell you which exercises. So the shape will be, yes, so this is chapter 4. Chapter 4, the first, until you go into the Wonderland, which is the last exercise, which is just mind-blowing when you start seeing depth. The first one, please do all upside down drawings, all, don't skip them, because this, your drawing skills will be so much better, right? So it's about the chapter about the intellect. Okay, well, so that's all we need to know for now, and we are going to sketch, and you please communicate with me any questions you have in the process, or better, get lost in your shapes. 70% of the time, look into the shape. Okay, so whatever space you have, that's the last thing I want to mention. Because we are, it's up to you. It can be a big thing, it can be a small thing. We are not working with your composition yet, right? How to make it, the whole thing very interesting. We are just curious about the details. So make it big enough, but don't worry about where to put what space on the paper it's supposed to take, okay? If you decide to do something other than computer mouse, feel free to change your subject.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start. So you see, I'm breaking a little bit the rule just to encourage you, but I am not doing nothing special, just the big cloud, okay? Just the big cloud. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore, so that's all. So those who are watching this as a replay, after I did just the cloud, you listened to the tips. Right now, pause the video, because I will turn it only when we have all the details that we see at this point of our authentic viewing, which will expand. The more we practice, the more we see. Try to see as much as you can, okay?
Okay.
I want to remind you how we use a mirror when we become uncomfortable, too many shapes, too complex object, any thoughts that, oh, I cannot do it, or any of that trained patterns. We take the mirror and we straight into our pupils, and we breathe until that feeling leaves our system. There is a longer process that can eliminate these kind of thoughts that are coming up. I will give you the links how you can explore more. It's called the completion process. But for now, even without knowing absolutely anything about any kind of techniques or completion process, the mirror exercise will take you out of the powerless thinking that you cannot do it. It also will slow you down. So you will notice that at some point you will be like, oh, faster, faster, faster. And the breathing at that moment changes as well. So you take the mirror, you look straight into the pupil, and everything comes down. And you become slower, and you start seeing much more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So before we continue, we're going to move to the next step, right? So right now you identified the big shape and some major things that you can see. I want to remind you one really, really important thing. No one ever starts as an Olympic champion at the Mount Everest. No one starts there, right? We train, we build the eye to see. That's what you need to remember with your drawing skills. Can you imagine you are learning to drive a car? You are driving the car and then you are making the wrong turn. And then you drop the wheel and say, oh my goodness, look at me. I don't know how to turn the right way. Right? You're not going to do that, right? You're going to hold your wheel and you're going to figure out how to do it. So yes, you can laugh, but not too much. Just relax more, breathe, and try to understand you want your mind to see. The reason, yes, there is some eye-hand coordination, absolutely. However, it's like that much. This much is the ability to see. When you can see that when my hand is like that you are not looking at 5 fingers this way, you are seeing some clump of stuff, that's when drawing starts. When you drop assumptions about your objects. For example, I say the word apple. Close your eyes for a second. Okay, apple. What do you see?
The shape of apple.
What else? What color? Do you see the color?
A red color. My favorite color. Red, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? 90% of people see the shape of an apple with red color. Why? Because our mind, beautiful thing inside, formed that thought pattern that it quickly can pull out of our billions of bits of information. That's what's called an apple, right? When you are drawing, you have to say, no, hold on a second. I am going to look and see what actually the apple is that I'm looking. So what we are doing when we are sketching, we are retraining the mind to say, we're telling it, okay, hold on a second. I know you are trained this way, but I want you to do this. Because it can do both. It can slow down really, really big time, or it can speed up. So for now, we need slow down. And the part we are going to go into now needs even more slowing down, more than just with shapes. And for 3 minutes right now, I'm going to time you. You're not going to sketch. You are going to just look. and you are going to look at all different colors, darks, lights, whatever you can see. Normally, for those of you who are doing this, not with us, are watching the replay, look maybe 10 minutes. If you can meditate on the object for 10 minutes, then do that. Okay? Because we are going to add some value, which means darks and lights, to make it a little more 3D. Okay? So, I'm going to...
Okay, sounds good.
Yes. Okay, so now what I want you to do, I want you to identify, let's say, 4 different let's say white, this, and a little lighter than that. I don't know if you can see, right? Can you see? That's my scale. Do you see it? That I made for myself here. Yes, guys, can you see it? Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to add shapes in these different tones or shades of gray right now. If you have a pencil, it can be darker, or you can go like, for example, like that. You can make it this cross hatching. See, it will also look dark. So in the shapes that you looked in, some parts are darker, some parts are lighter. So what I want you to identify those that are really, really dark and go put these in. Okay? Then try to see those who are maybe a little lighter. Then find the lightest shapes that are the lightest. And this in the middle, keep it to the last one, because they are the hardest ones to see. Actually, there is way more than just this simplification and whatever your eyes can see right now. It probably can see easily 3 different kinds: very light, very dark. Where shapes meet, it's usually very dark, and something in between. So if you can stretch it and try to see the one more, that would be great. The good exercise for that is to look at the paintings, let's say green, where is a lot of greenery, and try to find all different green tones, which means the artist added white to the paint, to the pigment, or the shades, which means the artist added the black to the color, to the pigment he was using. So try to see, how many can you see right now, darks and lights? Can you tell me?
4 different colors.
Fantastic.
I can see the darker one, and yeah, and I see the lighter than dark, and then the lighter one.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I don't know if you can see this one. If you have an eraser and you put too much, there are like this type of gummy erasers that you can get at the art supply store. They're really nice because they can just take out what you do not want. Sometimes really nice, right? So these are like very, but again, if you don't have it, who cares? You just make the dark lines really, really dark, and it will play off the shapes. So I'm going to give you another 5 minutes to work on that. So if you're watching the replay, it doesn't have to be 5 minutes. You can continue until it looks the way you want it to look. You're observing the darks. And actually, the real win is for you to see how the light touches your object. That's what's really, really important right now. First, to see the shapes, then to see how the light touches the object, and the space itself. We're going to talk about that as well. A very interesting and helpful thing is the ability to see not just the space around the object, but this negative space, it's always called, but the space, the depth. So in the book, there is a Wonderland exercise. It's actually a meditation, 21 minutes, that will shift that ability to see the object within the object. So if I look at the flower, right, we have the big cloud, and then we see the shapes within that cloud. And then we see how the light touches these shapes overlapping one another. And at the next step of the drawing, we can start seeing the space around. So I'm doing the close-up of the flowers, but if I want to, let's say, pretend that they are standing in some vase, I will plant them into something, right? So it's up to you. It's not necessary, but sometimes, especially if you did the vase or you did some object, it's nice to have the illusion that it's easier for the viewers to see that, oh, okay, it sits in something. Not necessary for me, because I'm doing it in a different the different perspective, a little bit looking like that from the top. But if you are doing the object that you look, it's at your eye level, then adding some kind of holding it so it's not floating in space will help you view the object better. So if you have, like, let's say you have like that, the thing with flowers, so adding some table to it in all different ways will help the viewer see it better. I don't know if you can see it. So depending on what you are doing, add the surface at which it sits. any real life drawing is an excellent, absolutely excellent training tool for the mind. So what I would do if I wanted to train myself again to sketch even better than I do, right? I would get a sketchbook and I will start sketching and start numbering these sketches. Van Gogh actually in 1 year did 1,000 sketches so that his figures can become more proportionate. Okay, so that skill requires training. Can you create beautiful art without that skill? 100%. But your personal fulfillment, your understanding that actually, yeah, you can do, that's not a big deal, is sometimes just for your own sake, is awesome. For example, if you want to draw people, it absolutely makes perfect sense to spend time sketching and understanding that realistic drawing takes time. If you want to do something really fast in the abstract manner just to express emotions, no, you don't need that. But I would have a combination for our own sake, doing a little bit of just expression art and doing a little bit for the mind so it can see better. I had a great, actually happened to me when I was little. I was sitting, I come from the family of two really master artists from Russia. And there was one night and I kept asking my stepdad, my godfather, like, what is like the main secret? What is the secret in art? What do I need to know? And he turned around and said, okay, well, tell me what color is the bush? And it was evening. We were at our country house under the lamp having tea. So I looked at the bushes and I go, well, they are green. And he goes, look again. And when I looked again, I realized they are not green. They were actually absolutely black. But that shock that mind creates, it prevents us from seeing things as they are. The mind does not allow us to listen because the first time we hear something, we already know what the person is going to say, so we stop listening. And it does allow us to see. However, it's just untrained mind. The mind that was not explained. I want you to slow down. I am not in a rush. I'm not going right now to go, and my life really does not depend on this. I'm just doing it because I want to know how. And it will let you learn. And you will learn much faster. You won't need 1,000 sketches like Van Gogh had to do. You will probably do it in 6 to 5 sessions. In a week, if you do mindful sketching, you will become an absolutely outstanding sketcher. You don't need 1,000. But you just say, okay, I'm going to see. So how does it look? Oh, okay. And you spend 21 minutes. And let's say today was your first one. Right? So number it, put the date, and then try again. Okay? So let's recap. What do we need? We need right mindset, right? We need to remember that our wrong lines, they are not wrong lines. They are the ones who help us find the right ones, right? Next one. Again, for me, some people build from little, depends how brain sees. Some people, okay, they take this small object and they add on top of it. I noticed that it's easier for people to grasp the bigger shape and try to figure out how things fit into that big shape. They're not going to get lost. Okay? And then try to see how shapes overlap. Where they overlap, where is one shape comes in front of another. And when they do, which part becomes darker? Where, how does light plays with the shape? It depends where our shape, our source of light is. But it's just spend time observing that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it would be awesome to see your progress. Really, really awesome. So you are part of Art Completes You course on Facebook. So hopefully this was recorded nicely and I can post it. So keep adding different sketches. Okay? And one more line for you. It's okay to be a beginner. It's really okay. You don't have to start as a huge professional. It's actually fun in something you can be a kid. Yeah, and all my plans are for everyone who wants to be in a big art show in New York. However, does everyone have to do it? No. Yeah. Okay, guys, any questions?
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great class, great lesson. Yeah, fantastic. I like it.
Thank you so very much. So I am thinking we will do the abstract with the real life element on Sunday. I wanted to do maybe one more class before the holidays. So that's all. So I will send a link and hope to see you again. Namaste.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.